take everyone to a time that we're all familiar with. Doesn't everybody remember their first hero? Maybe you were 4, maybe you were 5, maybe 7 years old when you first saw someone and you're like, wow. It may have been a woman, it may have been a man. But the one thing you do remember is they implanted an idea in your head. For me, this idea came because my mother decided to use a television to babysit me. And the TV had all these wonderful commercials of Aim High, Air Force, and Be All That You Can Be, Army. So yeah, I signed up. I was in the service for a little while, and thankfully I didn't have to become a hero by returning in a coffin or losing limbs. So, many of our GIs, unfortunately, that happens to them still to this day. But that's the lead into my story. You see, because the hero of our story has a similar situation. At a very young age, the hero of our story was able to see a commercial for the military. But there's one problem. He was born into a pacifist family. And this pacifist family taught him that service to others was through kindness and justice, not brute force. Well, you can't take away a dream from a young man, especially when it's that deep. And he decided to ask his mom at a young age, Mom, what would it be like to be in the military? And of course, she rebuked him and said, no, you cannot do that. We're pacifists. We do not do that. You must serve others through justice and kindness, not brute force. Again, you can't take away a person's dream. So at the age of 17, he went back to his mother and asked her again, Mom, I would love to join the service and serve my country. Of course, she said, your father won't allow it. Remember, serve others through justice and kindness, not brute force. Again, you cannot take a dream away from someone, especially when it's that deeply rooted in them. At the age of 18, he decided to go into town and sign up without telling his parents. But he told the recruiter this stipulation: I want you to sign me up and get me out of here as fast as possible. The recruiter said, hey, no problem. Don't you know we're at war? We'll get you out of here in 3 days. We need infantry bad. He said, I'll sign up for that. But this caused a problem because he loved his family. In fact, he spent 2 days agonizing because he just realized, I gotta tell my parents somehow. He didn't know what to do. So instead, on the 3rd night, he decided, I'll go ahead and leave them a note. Slid the note underneath their bedroom door, called the cab, took off into town, all the while not realizing that his mother was at the window, sobbing because she knew what her son was about to do, and she could do nothing about it. When he got to the recruiting depot, the recruiter pulled him in and said, lucky you, you get to go to Fort Knox. Well, he didn't realize that there's a reason they call it Hard Knocks, and his service didn't start off very pleasant. But he longed for his family. So he decided, I'll send him a letter. And in that letter, he told him what day he would be graduating and where he was. And on the day of graduation, he got up all cheery and jolly, only to look around. He realized his family was nowhere to be found. And his heart grew dark and cold. But he didn't give up hope. He figured, you know what, maybe they just need time to forgive me. So when he graduated from A school, he again wrote them a letter telling them what date the graduation would be. He got up cheery that morning and looked around. Again, no family to be found. Now, not only was his heart dark and cold, bitterness started to set in. Now, off he went to serve his country. And thankfully for him, he got to do a couple tours. He got to enjoy it and be around some great men. Also, thankfully for him, he didn't have to come back in a coffin or lose a limb or 2 or 3 to become a hero for this country. But upon returning, he still had that bitterness in his heart. He wanted so badly to connect with his family, but he could not find the forgiveness within himself to forgive them. So instead of going back home, he decided to tell the last duty station that he wanted a job in that town. And they told him a job that would probably be perfect for a GI of his stature, a peace officer. Well, he realized that being a peace officer actually would serve him very well. Because Again, his family taught him to serve others through justice and kindness, not through force. Everyone in this town wound up loving him because that's the way he served the people. He did his best to take care of little old ladies, take care of the shopkeepers. When he was at the cafes, he would sometimes offer to pay for someone's meal. He was a good soul. In fact, he was such a good soul that a lot of the townspeople would actually give him leads to let him know about crimes, so he became a much more effective peace officer. But again, his heart was cold and bitter and dark. Even with this, though, he caught the eye of a beautiful young woman in town. And she knew that this man that walked around with this dark, cold, and bitter heart had to have some type of kindness inside of him. So she decided that she would find a way to connect with him because she knew he wasn't going to do it for her. She researched where he would be, figured it out, and went and showed up. Wore her best dress, and on the first time, nothing. He wouldn't even talk to her. Basically ditched her. But she wouldn't give up, so she tried again. She was able to get a hello. She thought, success. Yes, I got some success. This man isn't all terrible. He's got some goodness in him. He's kind. And then on the third attempt, well, lo and behold, even he realized there was something going on. So he gave her the time of day, had a 1-hour conversation that turned into a 9-month romance that actually wound up turning into marriage. But this wound up being one of his most hurtful times. Because at the 2-year mark, his now wife passed away. And here he is, with a cold, dark heart and bitterness and now loneliness. But he had a shining light, a little girl that he could raise. And this little girl that he got the opportunity to raise helped him to realize his ultimate purpose. Again, like his parents had taught him, service to others through kindness and justice instead of brute force. And thankfully, he taught his girl this as well. And she also decided to instill that and use this with him. At the age of 3, she already started asking him about her family. Dad, how come I don't know my family? Where's my family? But his unforgiving heart would not let him give to his daughter what she wanted. For 3 years, this little girl continued to ask about her family, and he still would not allow himself to forgive. Thankfully, on her 7th birthday, she decided, I'm going to ask my dad and I'm going to tell him what I want for my birthday is to visit my grandparents and get to know my family. What was this man to do? He wanted to take care of his daughter. He wanted to give his daughter what she wanted. He gave in. And he told her, okay, I'll take you to meet my grandparents. Again, he found himself writing them a letter. And in this letter, he let them know the date he would be arriving with their grandchild. On the day of, he dressed himself and his little girl to the nines. They jumped on a train to go to that town. When they got to the town, again, where the unforgiveness in his heart was so strong, he literally sat down when they got to the town. The little girl bugged him, and he realized, okay, I gotta take her to meet her grandparents. He hailed a cab, and he said to the cab driver, when we get to the destination, I tell you, if I say we have to turn right around, we're turning right around. Do you agree? He said, hey, whatever you want, as long as it's honest and legal, is what the cab driver said. So off they went. And the reason why he told the cab driver this is that he put on this last note to his parents, a PS that said, if you have forgiven me, please hang a white sheet at the doorway so I know I'm forgiven and I will be allowed back in the home. Well, the cab kept going on this gravel road, turned right onto a dirt road. In the process of this, the man started to sob. Because as soon as they pulled into the driveway, not only was there a white sheet hanging at the door, but the entire fence was lined with sheets so that his parents allowed him to be forgiven multiple times for all the things that he had done. He walked up to the door, knocked, introduced his parents to their grandchild, and the rest, as they say, is history. The point of me telling this story is because, like this man, forgiveness exists everywhere. It exists in this room. Everyone in here has something they need to forgive. It's easy to forgive someone else. It's easy to forgive the president or the government or someone from the past. The worst type of unforgiveness is when it's towards yourself. Like the proverb says, unforgiveness is like a hot coal in your hand with the intent of throwing it at someone else. The only person you damage is yourself. I ask everyone tonight to take some cold water and forgive yourself. Allow that cold to cool off and get rid of it. Forgive yourself. That's the most important thing you can do, because as you forgive yourself, you move on to helping others forgive themselves. And that is what we're here to do, is to serve others. Like I said, there's unforgiveness in this room. There's unforgiveness in the world. But I want to give examples of how some people in this room have helped me, so that you guys can see that we are helping each other out. We are doing greater for each other. Jorge, you may not know this, buddy, but every time you've taken my phone call and every time you've helped this inquisitive young man learn something, I appreciated it so much. Because I know your time is valuable as a real estate man. You got things to do, but you've given me plenty of time out of your life, and I appreciate that. Karen, many times you've listened to my jokes. You've allowed me to tell you some jokes. I remember the famous one was the bird brains and the crows. I thought that was great that you liked it. Because I know you can be a serious woman at times, but I appreciated your time. Because I know you got things to do. And Jenny, you don't want to know how much your gentleness and your kindness and your willingness to help others has been an inspiration to a man like me. Thank you for being in my life. So my Toastmasters, again, I ask you, if you have unforgiveness, especially if it's toward yourself, forgive yourself, because then you can help others do the same. I trust everyone learned something tonight, and enjoyed listening to the speech.
Ricky, please take a moment to write comments to Ricky.
The comments are